Hey guys, Zach here from Manson Kids, and here's my chassis intro. First up we have the SCX10, or my crawler. I've only recently bought this, so it's still pretty fresh. I haven't got too many upgrades on it. There's the shell. Still got all this stock electronics, except I've upgraded to a waterproof Sabox servo, just for peace of mind. I can submerge it, it'll be fine. I've also got a winch up front. I bought this second hand off Brandon Wilson, great guy, helps you out all the time. I've upgraded the links to Mr. Links. They're nice and strong. I've bent them once, but they're easy to straighten back out and put straight back in. Drive shafts I've upgraded to the Junfac metal drive shafts. They've never let me down. Front steering, they're just cheap Chinese alloy steering C-hubs and knuckles, but they do the job just fine. And wheels I've upgraded to these heavy metal wheels. Again, got them off Brandon Wilson for a real good deal. They're pretty heavy and it's good, it keeps the weight low down, helps you grip the rocks. And this will go up anything, it's great. Next up we have the TTO2 FRD. I'll just quickly run you through the body. It's a Pandora R33. This was my first shell ever. It's a bit rough, it survived counter steer and 50-50 days, and it's now the Manson, it now has the Manson livery on it. The guards have been custom flared. You get a cigarette lighter, heat them up and bend them out. I'll cover that in another video. On the back I've made a metal Abo Moon style drag wing and tried to make up a bumperless. It's not the best in the world, but it looks alright. Quick shout out to Michael Sobin for wheels. If you need wheels, hit him up. He's a super friendly bloke and he'll do his best to help you out and get whatever you're after. MST adjustable offset rims on the front. And now for the chassis. I've had this chassis for just over a year. It's a really nice chassis provided you do a couple of upgrades. First thing to upgrade would be shocks. I've upgraded to MST shocks because the original shocks, they're gummy, they just don't perform well, whereas the MSTs are nice and silky smooth provided you stick with general maintenance, i.e. changing out O-rings and topping up oils. I suggest you do this at least every 3 months. Next thing you'll have to upgrade, or should upgrade, is the ball ends. These purple ones here are Overdose, and down in the middle of the rack I have MST ones. Just do whatever you can to reduce or eliminate as much slop as possible. Help get that front end dialed and sitting on lock. I've swapped out the battery position. I used to run lengthways over here, but I've moved it up and sitting across the diff. It's both high center of gravity, so you get that body roll effect, and it helps add rear traction. I've changed the servo position. The servo used to be mounted up the front here, but it's now back here, again to help aid in rear traction. I've used one of the original saddle pack holes and drilled my own hole here. On the back, I've removed the diffuser and in its place added a 50 gram weight to cover the weight of the diffuser and add a little bit extra for rear grip. I've got 10 gram weights on each arm to aid in rear grip. Electronics, I run a OMG 10.5 turn motor and a OMG D-Run ESC. I got both of these off of RC Mart for a really good price. This little white box down in here is my OB1 light connector. I use it for some of the shells that I run lights on. The gyro, I'm using a MST LSD version 1 gyro. It works really good for me. I prefer it over the stock Eagle Racing one because it's a tad smoother. I find I don't get as much gyro wobble in it, and it feels better overall. Receiver, I'm running a Sanwa RX472. It came with the remote, so it's good pairing. I'm running the OMG high profile servo. It's good, it's quick, it's reliable, always returns back to center. Never had an issue with it. It's good all round servo. Tyres, I'm running MST Silver Dots on the rear. And on the front I run Speedline CR2s. I like these because they provide enough grip to help you sit on lock. Where with other tyres I find like I either get too much grip and it wants to straighten out, or not enough grip and it feels very understeery. Next we have my radio. This is my Sanwa MT4S. I've only had this for a couple of months, but I'm loving it. It's got really nice features. It feels really comfortable to hold. I've swapped out the stock wheel for an MST wheel. I've just bolted it on there, but it doesn't slip. It holds just fine. I went crazy with the diamantes and stickers just to personalise it because everyone runs these, so got to make yours stand out and be different. It's a good radio. I recommend it to everyone. I reckon everyone should get one. I got mine through MRC Plaza over in Burwood. Speak to Gary or Chris, they'll look after you. Next we have my Eagle Racing TA05/Frankenstein build. It used to be a front motor, so this used to be the front and this was the rear. Started off counter steer as well. Me and my brother used to run them years ago now. I've had this for a few years. And then it sat in the cupboard and nothing to do, so I figured I'd transform it to rear-wheel drive. In the process I've swapped the arms front to rear. Also went with the Eagle Racing lower arms and knuckles. For upper arms I just budgeted on some drift package upper arms. Also went with the TA05 wiper set and wiper extensions which come stock with the chassis. For motor placement, normally the spur gear runs on this side, but to run that you'd have to reverse your motor and like ESC settings, and the ESC I was using at the time wasn't capable of it. So I took the plate off, flipped it over and put it on this side. Same with the servo. The servo used to run this way. As you can imagine, like the arms were up here and they turn, but I flipped it and put it on here so it all runs. Geometry wise, it's pretty good. I haven't had too much time to play with it and test it, but from what I have, it was really good. I was again running MST shocks all around. Battery placement goes up on this plate and sits vertically like that. And I've made up my own monoshock mounts out of, I think it's like 3mm metal plate. Not the best looking system, but it works. I don't know what else to say. And here we have my drift package. I've had this chassis for a couple of months now. It's a really good platform. I can see why everybody loves these chassis. They have so many options as far as like motor placement, or you can turn them into an FID where the motor goes up here. They've now got the Nervous system where the motor is on a three-way mount. It can be mounted here, up higher on the other side, and the servo is mounted vertically with a slide rack up the front. So many options out there. I can definitely see why so many people have these chassis. For me though, I've tried to keep it as basic and as cheap as possible, as kind of like a car to introduce other people into drifting. Being a cheaper setup, more people can afford them and get into rear-wheel drive, like what I've set this up for. Lower arms, I've gone with the MST plastic arms, as well as the plastic MST knuckles. Upper arms, I had a spare set of Eagle Racing uppers lying around from another build, so I just threw them on there. And these were also monoshock because I drilled holes and mounted the shock up high. Shocks, I'm running Racing to try and keep price down, but they handle pretty good. Not quite as good as the MSTs, but they do the job. Another thing you'll have to upgrade out of the box is the links. All of the links are fixed stock, so I've just thrown some turnbuckles in there so I can adjust camber, all your toe in, and Ackerman. In here I have a 13mm extender on the end of the wiper just to try and get a bit more throw. As you can see, the geometry is pretty good. Electronics wise, I'm running a Sanwa RX 482 with the SSL. I'm running a cheap budget HPI servo just to get the thing rolling, but it handles just fine. It's not the quickest servo in the world, but it does the job. Motor and speedy, I'm running a Rwd Pro and a Racing Hack Moto 10.5. I got these off RC Mart a few years ago and they've been going strong ever since then. Running an Eagle Racing gyro in it. Again, just an old gyro I had off another build, and they're nice and cheap, get you in this hobby. Gearing is still all stock, and that's about all I've changed on the chassis. Running MST silver dots on the rear. At the moment I've been trying out the stock tyres, but I'm finding they're a bit slippery, giving too much understeer, so I'm going to swap out to Speedline CR2s. Next up we have tools. This is my basic toolkit, comes with a number of things. I'm running the EDS tools, 1.5mm through to 2.5mm. I have these SCA, I think it's called Neochrome tools. They work great. I got them from Super Cheap Auto. They're on like the discount rack. They cost like $2. They work great. Comes from like 4mm all the way up to 8mm. I have various textures. I use these all the time, whether it's drawing on shells or marking out where I need to drill holes. I have a knife. I normally carry around a few spare blades with me, but this time not. I call it a scribe, but you might call it something else. It's just a big pin. I use it for like fishing out washers, or if I need to, like, I'll draw on something with the paint pen and then I'll scribe out my measurements. I have two different kinds of pliers. I've got like the bent pointy nose pliers and just your standard pliers. I have your normal tool wrench. Everyone should have one of these. They come with most kits. I have a small flathead screwdriver. I use this for adjusting gyro gain. And I have the 5.5 hex wrench. This just makes it easier than using one of these because you get into tighter places. I also have a small box. It's full of like odd nuts and bolts if I'm traveling somewhere and need something. I also have like some extra weights in here. If I go to certain tracks that are really slippery, I'll bolt on these extra weights, which Rob from Bear's Drift Cave makes up to any specification. Always carry around some double-sided tape. You never know when you're going to need it, and better to be prepared than not. And some foil tape. I use this all the time. I use it for everything. That's about it. This is Zach Pendleton signing off from Manson Kids.